Today in this video, we're going to talk about why golf professionals use Hotmelt and how to do it. So let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to the Mobile Club Maker. I'm AJ, I hope you're having a wonderful day. So the topic today is going to be Hotmelt. Okay, so what is the real point of Hotmelt? The most important thing that Hotmelt does is it changes the sound. That is why you want to use Hotmelt. If you are only interested in changing weight, changing swing weight, there are far simpler ways of going about that. Get lead tape, get a different screw weight if you've got adjustable weights in that driver or fairway wood or hybrid. Those are going to be vastly simpler and they're undoable, they're removable if you decide you want to go back to a lighter weight. Hotmelt, once you do it, it's done. There's really not a good way of getting it back out. So if you are just interested in adding weight, there are far better options than Hotmelt. What Hotmelt does and why professionals use Hotmelt is really to get that sound, to get that pitch of that golf club lower. Brings down the amount of vibration in the head and drops that sound to a more of a thud versus more of a ting or a ping sound. And we're going to go through this process with a couple with a couple golf club heads, a utility iron and a hybrid. And I'm going to show you, or I'm going to let you hear the difference before and after with the Hotmelt, so you can actually hear the difference on them, because that, again, is the most important part. If you're just doing it for weight, there's better ways to do it. Hotmelt is not efficient for doing weight unless you are only trying to get tiny amounts of it. And again, if weight is what you're after, lead tape, different size screw weights or adjustable weights. Hotmelt is really about sound. Okay, so I've got two golf clubs here. We're going to be hot melting, both of which have Hotmelt ports already pre-drilled in them. This is a Titleist utility iron. This is a Callaway hybrid. We're going to be hot melting both these. This one, just a little tiny bit of Hotmelt, trying to get the sound down a little bit. It's obviously more of an iron shape, so there's not a lot of space in here in the first place to be able to add Hotmelt to. This hybrid, we're going to be able to add a little bit more to it, see if we can really drop the pitch down a little bit more on it. But I'm going to show you it's the same process regardless of whether it's more of an iron, more of a hybrid, a driver, a fairway wood. Same deal for any of them, just different club heads. We're just going to put some heat basically right around this port. This little plug here is just plastic, so it's going to melt very quickly. It's going to soften up, and then we can just drill it out. Now, in some cases, the port will allow you to drill it out and pull it out of the head. In some cases, that piece of plastic is just going to fall inside the head. Don't worry if it does that. That is not a problem. With the Hotmelt back in there, it will catch any sort of residue in there and you won't have any rattles. Okay. Got a drill bit here. What I always like to do is I get a little bit of masking tape and put it right over where that Hotmelt port is. The reason for this is it just makes cleanup a lot easier. If I get any excess Hotmelt around it, I can just pull it off with the tape. I find it's just a much simpler way to clean it up. So I put the tape over it, then I just poke a little hole through it again so that the tip of my Hotmelt tube will go in there. Okay, the last thing to do before we start putting the Hotmelt in is we're just going to weigh both of these so we know how much Hotmelt we've added. So here's this one. Again, we want to weigh it with the tape already on it to get an accurate measurement. And this weighs 220 for the hybrid. And the utility weighs 239. And that's for the utility. We're going to do the utility iron first. Wherever you want the Hotmelt to fall, just use gravity as your way to get it to where it needs to go. So we're going to put it sort of at this angle so it falls away from the face. Now we're going to do this hybrid. Again, keeping the hot melt where we want it. We're going to use gravity to get it on the back of the head and low down. Okay, the only thing left to do now is we're going to plug those holes back up using some of these little graphite pins. Basically, we're just going to cut these down to where they just fit inside the hole, glue them in with some quick epoxy, and then cut the edges off, sand them down, use a little acetone to shine them back up, and these clubs are ready to go. Okay, there you go. Hot melt is all about sound. Remember that. If you are looking for weight, there are better ways to go about it. But if you are trying to get that sound a little bit more muted, a little bit lower, then hot melt can be a really good option. If you enjoyed this video, please go down below, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can be alerted when I post new videos. I'm on Patreon. If you want to support me, I'm at AJ Golf. You can also find me on Instagram at Mobile Club Maker. We will see you next time. Bye.